What on earth is that? It's a Journey into Comics Network production! All aboard!
I brought my pencil.
What do you wanna do with your life?
Walk on home, boy. Yeah.
Like anything gets the same like you did before. Make it ring, make it bleed, make it really.
Good morning, afternoon, or evening, and welcome to another episode of Rank 'em All. See, that doesn't work as well like with the brews with T's because you have the pause. It's good enough. It's good enough. Thank you guys for tuning in yet again. We've got our all-star cast, Journey into Comics, a little bit of everybody from all the different corners. We got Mr. Brando. How you doing today, sir?
I'm doing fantastic. I'm super excited to actually get to sit down to talk about one of the biggest, greatest, and most highest-selling albums of all time.
We're still working on getting through Metallica. We are on the Black Album. Is it the Black Album? Is it the self-titled? Is it both?
All of the above.
James calls it the Black Album, even though it is technically self-titled. That's just what he refers to it as, so I'll go by his judgment.
Terribly unfortunate fact here. When you type in the Black Album, Jay-Z's album comes up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whatever.
Yeah, that happened.
So back to introductions. We've got Mr. Nate Phillips, the Podfather. How you doing, sir?
Hanging in there, my friend. We're surviving 2020 in this crazy world we live in, as I always say. But as Brando said, I'm just going to echo the sentiment. The Black Album, one of the coolest experiences in music growing up. I mean, we're going to be talking about it today, and even relevant now as it's re-entered the Billboard charts, if you guys can even believe that, which is insane.
Doesn't it do it often?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like every couple of years it jumps back on.
If I might add, right now is actually the 40th anniversary of Metallica being around. So it's that anniversary time of year, and whenever it hits that like 5 or 10 year mark, bands tend to get their replays and stuff, and this being one of the all-time favorites is a contributing factor to why it's up in the billboards again, because people are like, oh hey, Metallica Day, let's put and stream my fucking favorite album. Black. You got Load, you got Ride the Lightning, and Injustice for All, I think, are like the top 4 Metallica albums out there.
I don't know. I bet one of those guys knows. So we've also got what do we want to call him this time? The Porn Lord, the Dong Father,
Keeper of the Jacktop.
Mr. Dong himself.
What was that name you gave him a while back that he just hated?
I don't remember. He doesn't like a lot. Which one?
I gave up on hating them, Nick, a long time ago. I embrace them now.
Good, as you should.
It was.
And then we've got a special guest today, Mr. Austin Hill.
Hello.
He's the first guest on Rank 'em All.
So I thought of a new nickname for you, Nick, whenever you want to use it. The Surveyor of Doom. You know, because as we get into our older age, it's almost like you show up with like a clipboard and a pen, and you're watching around, and you have your pen, and you're like, this is an adequate amount of Doom. And you
I like that. I like that. I'm going to add that character to my repertoire. I think that makes character number 6.
There you go. Oh, man.
All right, so Pitter Powder, boys, let's get at her. Brando, you wanna take us away with your fun facts?
Well, yes, absolutely. So the self-titled Metallica record was the 5th album to be produced by the band. It came out on August 12th, 1991. It is 29 years old today, or this month. It would have been today, like if this would have happened like we thought it was going to happen. But it was recorded over a matter of almost like just over 6 months, 8 months. And it was produced by Bob Rock, and it was the first album to be produced by Bob Rock and would be an award-winning combination that would last for over 10 years as Bob Rock would stay with them. This album marks a bit of a departure from what we have seen. They started off really, as we've discussed here on this show, the first album is just very quick thrashy attack. They started experimenting with more moods and more complexity with Ride, and then Master, and then of course Justice. They said, let's make every song 9 minutes, and then they just did that. But here,
Yeah, they did.
yeah, but here they were like, you know what? After they toured on Justice, and they're like, we're getting tired of playing the 9-minute songs. We need just to condense these up a bit. And Bob Rock was the perfect guy to come in. Originally, he was just going to mix it, but then he actually wanted to produce it, and he pushed these guys. And this album, as we've already mentioned, is a monster success. Whether or not you want to say the mainstream met them or they met the mainstream or both, I would be pretty hard pressed not to say that without their natural growth and progression, and then meeting here with where the mainstream was meeting here, we wouldn't have mainstream success with a lot of other heavier bands that we have today. Like it just
100%.
Yes, I mean from Pantera and then into the new metal, and then going in through to Slipknot, and because when you could turn on the modern rock radio FM, and hear the new Slipknot song being played. Back when like 20 years ago, that was your underground band just breaking through. All of that kind of dial back that a little bit here, and as we said, the album continues to kind of come back into to the zeitgeist of the album charts. It's hard to say how many exactly this album has sold because it's so much. But the most up to date number on Wikipedia is 31 million worldwide.
Wow.
That is an insane number. This album also starts a very interesting trend of Metallica, where from this album on, every release they have released has been a number one.
Mm-hmm. Even
since the Black Album.
Even Saint Anger.
Correct.
Debuted at number one. But this album also...
People didn't know.
Well, I mean, this album had 5 singles released.
Yeah, it could be considered a greatest hits album.
Damn near. And because of that, and when you normally release singles, you do so throughout the year or years. And they technically started the tour on this on the Wherever We May Roam tour, starting on August 91, and the last tour there was 4 tours technically for this album, and the last date was August 21st, 1994.
Dang.
Wow.
So little breaks here and there, but that is a vicious.
Solid 3 years.
Because every time they would be out, they'd be like, "Hey, new single just went platinum over there in Japan. We got to go back." It's like, all right, let's go. But we've talked about how well it's done. A little bit preamble about the production. This would be the second album with Jason Newsted on board, so the lineup is pretty solidified here with James Hetfield, Kirk Hammett, Jason Newsted, Lars Ulrich, with additional arrangements from Michael Kamen, which is going to be a name that's going to prop up here in a couple episodes from now. And there are 12 tracks on here, and we're going to get right busy and go right into it. Track number 1, guys, with writing credits from James, Lars, and Kirk. They kind of have a trend, and we've talked about this, of starting the album off with a banger, or at least with a lot of energy. Track 1's Enter Sandman.
I have a question. Raise your hand, everybody in this room right now, raise your hand if you know any part of this song on any musical instrument. Even vocals. You know the lyrics. Come on now. Your voice is an instrument. See, we all know the song in some form.
I'll say I used to know parts of it on guitar, but I haven't played guitar in 20 years. No,
hey,
probably
but you at least knew
years.
some of it on guitar.
So I can't say I know it anymore.
Fair enough.
So this was the first single off of the album. This was it had the video, it was in heavy rotation on MTV. And a quick, real fun fact here: there was a fight about what the first single was going to be.
Oh, and I'm so glad that this won over the song.
Yeah,
that almost
Lars was pushing for this one, Bob Rock was pushing for Holier Than Thou because it had, which we'll discuss when we get there, and eventually this won out. The very first time I ever heard that, I'd heard a couple of Metallica songs before this. I mean, I think I got this album in like '99, so like I was just coming right into into this realm or whatever. And the very first time I ever heard this song, I mean, I probably had heard it. I mean, in passing. How do you not hear this song watching sports or you get in the car, turn the radio, and your dad's like, "Fuck this shit," turn it off. Like I want my Skinner. But I'm like, what was that? That sounded cool. But no, it was wrestling that got me to hear the song. ECW, Inner Sandman came on. When Sandman would come out, the crowd would go nuts, and they would just be singing it, and it would have a lot of energy. And I had heard a couple songs before, and the next day, after I saw that clip on TV, we went to Walmart. Because where I lived, that was a trek. Like, we actually had to drive 45 minutes to go to the nearest Walmart. And I'm looking through the CDs. I'm looking through the CDs, and I got like Master of Puppets, Ride the Lightning, Justice. And I'm just like, nope. All these classic albums, and I find it. And I asked to get it. I put it in my CD player, my little Discman. And I probably listened to the song on repeat for like 5 times because I was actually able to hear the song in production and just with headphones on and just be engulfed by the sound and thinking, there's no way there's no way that the album gets better than this. Like, this is a killer song.
This is the only song I'm ever gonna listen to.
But this is what started my roll into heavy metal. Like truly, like a few songs here and there before this, but this was what got me like, I have to get all the albums now. I have to hear more. As I let it play on, but eventually. But Dick, we'll start with you next. What do you have anything to say or any story about the first time you may have heard?
So, back in the dark times, as I like to call them, before I listened to metal, this was probably the only Metallica song I had ever heard before I knew who Metallica was or anything like that. So as soon as I heard Enter Sandman, oh, this is Metallica, I was like, oh, I know this song. I know this song. I can say that about a couple other songs like Raining Blood, Cemetery Gates. I had heard those songs before. Didn't know what they were. Just playing video games and shit, This song, it's funny that you guys say that this, I can't remember who said it, but you start this album off with a jam. And I would say this is the quintessential Metallica jam. This song is Metallica.
It gets
I need
to
interject for a second.
Well, it just gets the most radio play even today. Like, you turn on the radio, like modern radio, and it still gets played.
First line of my notes, the quintessential Metallica riff.
Wow, yeah.
I almost said word for word what Dick said. That's fucking crazy.
This is the Metallica jam. Like, I think on Master of Puppets, I said Master of Puppets is one of those songs that is Metallica. You think Metallica, you think Master of Puppets. Well, you think Metallica, you think Enter Sandman. 10.
The song has entered rarefied air because when you think about bands that have a song that's so successful that it's on repeat and you get sick of it, but the moment you hear it, you know exactly what it is and who it is. Even if you're not a fan of the band, it's like, it doesn't matter if you're in a bar somewhere and you hear the first lick of Sweet Home Alabama, you know what it is. You hear the first Iron Man, you know what it is. You hear the Jump, Van Halen, you hear the keyboard, you know exactly what it is.
It's transcended.
Yes.
like genre. Like,
yeah.
No matter what you like to listen to, you've heard Enter Sandman. And I don't think it's something that it doesn't like push you away. Like I would say most people, when you think of Metallica, the vast majority of people would probably think of Enter Sandman, because something like Master of Puppets is like fast and thrashy, and that might be too much for some people. But this is extremely radio friendly.
Sure.
I mean, if I might add my little bit too, it's definitely one of those songs that if you are sitting in a bar or pub or restaurant or whatever that is playing music and it's just playing whatever, and it's Metallica is definitely not your style of music, it's not going to be one of those, oh man, this sucks that that's on. You're going to hear it and you're like, oh, this song's not bad, I'm okay with this. Like you kind of get when you listen to like just a random generated playlist, like if you're just listening to the radio or if you're listening to like top hits radio or something, you're going to get a good variety of music depending on single releases and stuff like that. Otherwise you get kind of like a regurgitated flow of things. But this is one of those songs that will come up and break the mix and people will still go, all right, cool.
It's weird. It's weird to imagine anyone that would think that it's too heavy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, what is this heavy metal shit? Like,
Well,
what?
Over the years, also tastes have kind of changed too, and as the more of the next generation, I guess, of music and rock fans kind of come through, this has just been more generalized. Which, whether you want to see that as a positive or negative for a band, to me as a band, if I was in a band that like this is like a dream to have a song that is hit that position. You know, to the point where it's like, man, we could never write another thing in our life. We wouldn't, but if we chose not to, if we chose to hang it up today, and they were like, what, like 25, 26, 27 when they were doing this album? Yeah, probably like 20, like late 20s. And they wrote this song. And it doesn't stop here. That's the greatest part, is that like, while this is the most generalized, this is the most accessible, there's other songs on here that fit right in that category that just didn't maybe quite reach the height of this song, but that's literally only because this song came first.
Yeah.
I'd say they're closer to like 30 when this came out, because Kill 'Em All, they were just 20, 21 years old when that came out.
Mm-hmm. I think James is
I was
28.
83.
I think James was 28 when they were working on Black Album, which that's amazing to think that
Makes you feel like you failed at life when you're like 30 something. You're like, he was 28 and wrote that. Fuck you, man.
So back when in May of 2006, VH1 decided to do their metal month.
Mhm.
And that was when I went to school on metal. I was into Disturbed and Mushroom Head and all that shit at the time, but this is when I really got a chance to dive into like some of the metal heritage, if you will.
Like Disturbed.
Yes.
Like Disturbed or like...
So they did top 40 metal songs, top 40 most metal songs of all time. This is according to VH1, not real metal fans. But Metallica, Enter Sandman is number 22 on the list, right in front of Korn, Freak on a Leash, and right behind Guns N' Roses, Paradise City. Yeah, I don't like
Paradise City is quite a banger.
It is. I mean, got to give it up to.
It doesn't beat Enter Sandman though.
I don't know if we will ever rank them all GNR, but
I would definitely say that sounds like a VH1 list.
Yeah.
Master of Puppets is number 3.
hey,
Black Sabbath, Iron Man is number 1.
That doesn't surprise me. I got a quote from Lars before we get to our ranks for this song, if nobody else has anything else to add.
I mean, I have notes, but
We'll touch on that before we
you.
give the rank.
Sure.
But I just saw this quote right here, and I love it. He's like, so here's Lars. It's like, you think one day some fucker's going to tell you that you have a #1 record in America and the whole world will, like, ejaculate. I stood there in my hotel room, and there was this fax that said, you're #1. And it was like, well, okay, just another fucking fax from the office. Now what do we do?
Sounds like Lars.
Yeah, right?
man, if Metallica would have reached popularity during social media times,
Oh, man.
what a total different world they would have lived and experienced for sure. But
So,
yeah.
so as usual, Nate has his War and Peace book of notes. Lay it on us, man.
So obviously, we've all said it, quintessential Metallica riff. Brando and I can attest that this song has some special history and heritage for us, especially since we were able to get it played at our high school prom, which was awesome. And we started a mosh in the middle of the dance floor, which was incredible. The first riff, stolen from Jimi Hendrix. It's the Jimi Hendrix riff played in reverse.
Which
Kirk
one?
has said that multiple times. The very intro riff, the soft
No,
picking.
what Jimi Hendrix riff?
I didn't look that up. I didn't go.
Oh,
That
damn
far
it!
into my research.
See, now you
Sorry.
got me interested. Now I'm going to go through all these Jimi Hendrix songs and play them backwards to see to see if it sounds familiar.
James definitely honed his voice a lot more since And Justice for All. You can tell he's matured a little bit. A very well produced song, Bob Rock, obviously. Sonically shifting from the last album. Solo, Kirk is grooving. He is just in a very groovy place for that. It's not too thrashy and fast. It finds a very perfect balance in the mix. It's a powerful headbanger. Goodbye 80s, hello 90s. Those are my notes. 'Cause
Solo
it
Master.
definitely-
Solo Master. Touch on that one.
It's a good solo. Pretty good solo. Touches a lot of different parts, like Kirk's arsenal.
Yeah.
He has different kinds of solos. And this one seemed to have a good mix of all of them. The only thing I had about this is classic Metallica. One of the first songs you would think of as a general listener. And as best as I can recall, this is the first song I ever heard by them.
Awesome.
So really fast, right before we give the rank, Nate mentioned James' voice. Well, as per usual, when they get warmed up in the studio before they start recording, they kind of just jam on a cover, or they pick one and they just kind of start jamming it out, and I don't know, break in some of the new equipment, or try to use that to try to find tone or whatever. You from all the way from Kill 'Em All with Am I Evil, Blitzkrieg, and all that kind of stuff. That through the years they've kind of done that. Well, they did So What and Stone Cold Crazy during this time, and on So What, James blew his voice out right before they were going to start recording this album. So then he had to go get voice therapy and take lessons on how to repair his voice. And he said he was super freaking nervous that the guy was going to make him sound like an opera singer, but it was just simple voice exercises that to this point he had not been doing at all. And that is why when they were producing this record, he had a little bit more touch in his arsenal. They were trying new things, venturing out of the box, which they did a lot on this record, but they even did that with his voice. But the time has come, fellers. Time to rank this bitch. We're going to hit it on over with Nick first. Nick, lay it on me, man.
I gave it a 7. It's a great song, but it's I like a good banger. And I honestly feel like as good of a song it is, it's not the strongest first song.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? They usually come out the gate like hard as fuck. And in terms of like they keep toning the thrashiness down. So yeah, I give it a solid 7.
Dick.
I'm the opposite. I think this is the Metallica banger. So 10. And like he was saying with the toning it down with the thrash, when I originally listened to this album for this, I was coming off of listening to Master of Puppets and Injustice for All. So I went into this knowing it better than any other Metallica album. However, I was like, these songs don't resonate with me as much now that I've really gone through the others. And listening to it again for actually recording at this time, I was like, okay, I appreciate this again. Cool. So 10.
Nate.
9. Just short and sweet. It's not the perfect song, and actually in a lot of ways, people can say this is where Metallica started to soften up their sound and their style and become more palatable to everybody else. But those notes, and I don't mean actual music notes, I mean just the tricks they use in this album, have been sprinkled in all the albums before. We're just getting larger doses of stuff that isn't as noticeable until it's shined brightly. And it's definitely a departure from what we knew in the old era of Metallica, but I do think it is a great ushering in of the new era. That's why it, for me, end of story is 9.
There is no way that I couldn't give this song a 10, just from my own personal taste. While as a fan, I went on to like other songs, maybe even more than this. When this comes on now, do I always listen to it? No. You know, this is one of the 10 skippable tracks for me, but I just can't. It's hard for me to give it a 9 because this is the song that started it all for me. This was the song that laid that. Well, I had heard Seek and Destroy on WCW. I heard Fuel on the Hot Wheels racing game on PS1.
Also NASCAR.
And eventually NASCAR. But like when I heard this and I had the headphones on and I heard it and it was like a wall of sound, and I was like, it ended and I couldn't go forward. I'm like, again. And because of that, because of the seed that this song sowed in me to just continue on my path, all the different bands, all the different songs that I love, maybe even, again, more than this song, it wouldn't happen if it weren't for this song for me. So this is my salute to this song. This song did it. But then, as I said, I kept hitting the back button, And I remember on the way home, you know, as I said, it was only a 45-minute drive, but we stopped at my aunt and uncle's house, and he said, hey, we're going to go in here and talk for a bit. Do you want to come in? I said, no. I'm staying in the car listening to this CD. And one time I didn't hit back, and I let it go. And the first note of the next song hit me. And I was sitting in the back seat, and the next thing I knew, I was back in the trunk. You know, I was the dude.
Shot you through the back.
I was the dude on the CD of like the Maxwell, just like that wall of sound. I want to say this is one of the few songs, like maybe the only song on this album that was actually recorded in like D standard. It's got a deep down. It's got a deeper tone to it. But track 2 is Sad But True, and it's got a writing credit for James and Lars on this. Originally, the demo was much faster. Bob told him to, okay, can you slow that down? And they looked at him like, who the fuck are you telling us to slow down? Fuck you. They were very rebellious still. They did not like anybody fucking with their shit. Do not come into here and tell us how to do this. And he's like, that's why I'm here. I'm here to challenge you guys. It's going to sound better if you slow that down. And then they're like, shit. You're right.
You right, Bob Rock.
Yeah.
You right.
But Sad But True, the Sad But True, I believe, was the last single that was released from the album. The last single, so the album came out in, the first single was July 29, 91. The last single was February 8th, 93. Think about that. This album had shelf life. And it still does, because we just mentioned how many albums, like it re-entered the album charts with 5,000 copies sold around the anniversary time of its, of its release. I
don't think enough bands managed to do that until like Nickelback with All the Right Reasons. Like they had singles coming out for like 3 years after too.
Maybe, but like
didn't they release like 8 or 9 singles
from that one? Maybe.
Yeah.
The whole album was a single.
5-song album. Wow.
But Sad But True, guys. This was also, as I said, it was a single. It's track 2. It's almost the exact same length as the first song, just 10 seconds shorter. This time, Dick. Wait, no, Dick went first last time. Who went first last time? Nate. Nate will go first this time.
Okay, sure. Okay, going to the wall of notes here. For Sad But True, I have written aggressive tone that slaps right away, like you were saying. It fucking just kicks your dick in. You're like, whoa, too much. A first for Metallica using complete silence before fully kicking into the song. Like it has this temporary full stop, and you're like, what? And then you hear the dot, 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 dot. Boom, it kicks in. And you're like, okay, I'm hooked. I'm there. Heavier than heavy. This song literally is just so fucking heavy. It's crazy to me. The bass is mixed so much better on this album. It actually plays a part in sonically what's happening with these songs. The duality of lyrics, again, relating to somebody being a master over you and also being an idol to others who experiences things they don't get to, and you kind of live through these people, which again, James having just amazing ability to take and split your brain between which way do you think he's really singing about. Again, control out of control. So many layered guitars in the chorus. If you're listening with headphones, and especially if you're listening with headphones on the Microsoft Zune, just saying.
You and that damn Zune.
Hey, I'm going to mention it every episode because I've listened to every single one of these through the Zune to really give it the true test. The solo is awesome. Post solo chorus totally jams. You know, that last verse, you just scream it so fucking hate. I'm your hate. Like, oh.
You should have done
I'm your hate
vocals.
when you want love. Like,
You should have done
what?
the vocals for the song, and it sounds just like that. Hate. I'm your hate
Hate.
when you want love.
Hate.
I didn't mean for it to sound that way, but yes.
It's
I
almost
love-
like if Christopher Walken, like, hate. Yeah, I'm your hate when you want love.
We are
Now
off the rails.
I'm thinking of Christopher Walken doing that.
Yeah, there you go. Yep, thank you. Yep, and you're welcome. No, dude, the layers on this song is amazing. If you sit back and they released a classic albums for this album, where they go through and they're sitting in the studio and they're turning off certain things for the master tracks, and there's so many different stuff that they've layered because if there's one thing that if you're in a band, you know you can't just keep adding the same guitar playing the same riff on top of each other. It just becomes muck. But if you add one guitar playing the riff and another one over here doing an accent, or this one over here doing this one, and just like harmonies and stuff, it creates. It's something that, you know, maybe they can't replicate live, but you don't need to live. The live, you're just worried about, you know, throwing your horns up and, you know, banging your head. But on an album, like you said, it's that wall of sound, and it continues with this song. Nick,
Who are you going to next?
Yes. So I just love the vocals on this one. It's one of my favorite songs. Vocally, just the way that he says things, the verses and the chorus, like just the delivery is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
As much as I really, really love this song, the note I wrote about the solo is the solo acts like it forgot to solo. Like I felt like he started and you're like, oh fuck, here it comes, and he's like, nah, that was it. Yeah, this is one of my favorite songs by them. It's like you said, it's slower, like the main riff that drives it, like they slow it down a little bit, but it's so heavy. So it's one of their best.
You could kind of see where they were going, like when they did Harvester of Sorrow and Justice, and then you can hear this one, and you can almost see like, oh, okay, yeah. I kind of see like this was like them mastering that quintessential slower, chunkier song that we heard in For Whom the Bell Tolls, and then, you know, Harvester.
They've been working on it and they figured it out.
Yes, they did.
True, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. How about you, Dick? Last but not least.
You guys have all pretty much said anything I could possibly say about this. It's so fucking heavy. I love it. I can't just. It's up for debate where I heard it first. I either heard it first on Guitar Hero Metallica, the demo that I played in either GameStop or Best Buy or some shit, or the first time I heard it was Kid Rock's American Badass.
God damn it. I knew you were going to fucking say it.
Man, the day I figured that one out, you know, I'd already had this album for a while. I love this album. And then I got History of Rock. I'm banging that. And we were rolling down the interstate. I remember back there, like, with my Discman, and I'm just listening to it. And I'm like, wait a minute. Wait, I've heard this before. And then I look in the liner notes because I had the CD case with me, and it's like, special thanks to James Hetfield, Lars Ulrich. Ah! Thief!
No, I'm super glad that, like, okay, for as much as it sucks that I didn't really know this song before I heard it on Guitar Hero Metallica, I didn't really do a deep dive into Metallica. I just listened to, like, Enter Sandman and a couple other songs, and I guess Death Magnetic, because that came out while I was a fan of them.
Yeah.
And then I hear this, and I'm like, whoa. So it's really cool that the first time I heard this was while I was a fan. Like, it didn't hit me out of nowhere when, like, I didn't know shit about metal. It was just like, whoa, this is awesome, and I feel like I appreciate it so much more because it came to me so late, I guess.
So if anybody hasn't heard the mashup of Sabbath True and Superstitious from Stevie Wonder, go do that, because then you'll realize that this song kind of has a jazz flow to it as well. Never would have thought. Man, that is
It vibes so
it
hard.
does.
Dude.
It is so. They added in the superstitious little bass, little twangs, and it's fun. It's so much fun. But this song is fun. For a rank, Dick, what do you give this one, bud?
Man, I'm gonna go for it. 10.
10. All right, Nate.
9.25. Did Austin have any thoughts on Sad But True?
Sad but true. I honestly haven't listened to this album in a while, but since we're recording now and I discussed earlier, it's the first CD I ever owned. Like This is my introduction to Metallica, because I had probably heard them before, but I was young enough just to not know. And it was one of those surprise presents. My dad got me this little boombox CD player and this album for Christmas. And so Enter Sandman was like, boom, kicked off great. And I ranked it about, thinking back and trying to remember it since the last time I heard it. Like I've been on with what I'm looking at Nick's ranks on these, but Sad But True was like one of those that was like brought you. I felt like it was one of those songs that really brought you down off of that Enter Sandman, just big opening rush, and just prepared you for the rest of the album. It was like that great follow-up song to that big, just in your face Enter Sandman, getting it. And then this took the heaviness, but kind of like settled you down into what you're about to get into.
Awesome.
Fuck yeah.
Awesome. Nick, what you got
It's
for a
what
rank on this?
Is it on me? Is that what you said?
Yep. Lay it on me.
I give it 7.5. It's a great song. It's one of those. Austin kind of mentioned something like you hear these songs before you know who they are, before you're a fan. And there's got to be 5 songs on this album that I'm like, oh, I heard this on the radio, you know, before I knew who Metallica was. So it's a song I've been listening to since well before I knew what it was called, before I knew who Metallica was. I guess I'm being kind of stingy with my ratings, aren't I?
A little bit.
So yeah, I give it a 7.5.
I gave this song a 9. I think Austin said it really well. This is like a good 1-2 punch with Sandman, and then this song coming right after it. As I said, the moment I let that CD continue on, and this song hit me, I was just like, you know, I didn't think that any album could get any better from that first song. I was on such a high, and then this song hit. So I gave it a 9 for sure.
This is that good. Man, I just got hit in the face real hard. I can't really see. I'm trying to breathe and focus. And then this hits you in the gut and pulls all that focus back in and makes you really just, okay, time to get back in action with what's in front of me.
Oh, absolutely. Because then the third song hits, and you know, when I heard this song, it is stripped down, but there's portions of this song, and there's a few other songs here also that we're going to talk about. This next song, Holier Than Thou, it's not a single, and I believe the writing credit is still just James and Lars. This song almost gives me Justice vibes. Like, not like, think of like, this would be like a 3-minute segment of a song on Justice or something. You know, this is a really condensed, like they went through and they just compact it. Because it's fast, it's energetic. That's why Bob Rock wanted it to be the single, because James hadn't finalized the lyrics. It sounded exactly like, you know, the same energy that they had in the album prior. Holier Than Thou, and we'll start this time with Nick. Nick, what do you got for me on Holier Than Thou? So
this is one that I hadn't listened to a whole lot before. I really like the lyrical content. It's a very James song, if that makes sense. I kind of like to know who it's about, because it sounds like he's fucking pissed at somebody.
Directly.
The first half, it sounds like he's just talking about people gossiping and making theirs off of yours. But yeah, someone pissed James off. I like the solo, but I feel like Kirk was getting in like a rhythm. His solos are starting to sound the same. He definitely does a good job of differentiating, but like you're listening to the solo and you're like, oh, he's getting ready to jump up, and then he does it almost every time. So, good song. It was fun revisiting it. I liked it more than I remember.
Dick.
This song is okay to me. It's got a pretty thrashy intro, quirky riff. My notes say what I just said, and it's just a fun jam.
My notes said exactly what I just said.
Great analysis, Dick.
Yeah, it's an okay song. I don't got a lot.
Austin, man, what do you got?
I honestly don't remember much about this song, mainly because where it's at in the lineup, from the song that follows it, easily forgotten.
Sandwiched in between a couple monsters.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
Nate, do you have notes?
I do. The notes are shorter, but that's fine. Powerful intro, kind of like what you guys have already said. Again, in this album, you're noticing more effects on everything.
Yeah.
You can hear a lot more different pedals are being used, different reverbs are being used to really produce the sound of Metallica. Metalheads don't say crap. That's why that was not going to ever be a viable solo or first single. Like, no more crap rolls out your mouth again. I've never been a line I've ever said, except for when I'm singing this song. Anti-Religion definitely has that vibe, like in the duality of the tones. I got Jump in the Fire vibes from this song. If you guys think back to Kill 'Em All, that it was kind of that like, okay, yeah, it's a good song, but it's very forgettable and doesn't do a lot for me. That's kind of where I felt this was. I literally put solo is thrashy but unmemorable, right along with what Nick was saying. And then I said, wait, a bass solo, because there's that one little section where Jason gets to break away and has like a moment to play the notes where no one else is playing. So it is a solo, but it's not really him getting to be creative in a solo, if you know what I'm saying. That's all I have for my notes.
I really like the energy of the song. Of the songs that are like what you consider B-sides, this is probably my second favorite, simply because it's got that energy. And if anybody has not done so, check out the Testament cover of this song. It kills.
Definitely
It's
interesting.
awesome. Like, I mean, it just basically they take a song that's already pretty good and they just improve it, because number one, it's Chuck Billy on vocals, and number two, they add like another guitar solo near the beginning. So
Always down for that.
yeah, absolutely. So we're gonna go right along with the ranks here. Nate, hit me on with that rankage.
6.75.
You and those points. Nick.
I gave it a solid 6. I hate the word. It sounds demeaning, but the forgettable.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know if it's
Okay.
from lack of content or just being on an album with so many bangers. But yep, I gave it a 6.
Dick.
7.
7. I gave this song an 8. As I said, it's kind of like my second favorite of it, and I was teetering. And that day, I was in a good mood, so I gave it an 8. The next song, it was also a single. Going to be saying that a lot here. I believe this was the second single released on October 28th of 91. The Unforgiven. This follows another trend that we've seen. Track fours. Ride the Lightning, Fade to Black, Master of Puppets, Welcome Home Sanitarium, Justice for All 1, Black Album, The Unforgiven, where it's like a quasi semi ballad, but it's still heavy. You know,
That fourth batter position, ready to hit that fucking home run.
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't put that together. That all the fourth tracks were.
Well,
that can't be a coincidence, you know.
Well, also, Ride the Lightning, Master of Puppets, Justice, a second track, all title tracks.
Title tracks, yep.
And then Saint Anger would bring that back in when they would do Saint Anger and for title track.
I want I want to say that Austin just said something without even meaning to that just jogged my memory. I heard the best comparison to Metallica songs, and it came from the weirdest spot, and it is that Metallica, musically speaking, is like an amazing baseball player. You're not always going to hit a home run. You're not always going to have a grand slam, but sometimes the bunts count. Sometimes striking out when the team needs you to counts. And they've found a way to constantly do that within their music somehow and make everything, even if it's not the greatest ever, it counts. Yeah.
They always seem to they seem to have a really good balance.
Mhm.
Like if you've got a forgettable track, you've got another one right there that is really fucking awesome. At least through these first couple albums. So.
The Unforgiven has writing tracks from James, Lars, and Kirk for The Unforgiven. With this one, since they had done sort of the track 4 balladish, it was Lars's suggestion that they flip it where the verses are heavy and the chorus is soft. And let me just say that for me, as I said, first time I ever listened to this, when I went to this song, I was like, whoa, okay, now we're going to slow it down a little bit. And then the intro with that inverted Clint Eastwood horn, which was lifted from one of the movies, which I'm not going to say. Metallica does that a lot. They lift stuff, and they don't ever say where it's from. But the horn into the nice acoustic guitar, and as soon as you're like, it has a cool opening, and then it just hits you in with the verse riff with that crunch, and like, okay, we're still heavy, all right, man. If there was a way, and this is just my opinion, I'm instantly, this is spoiler right here because we're not into rank yet, but if there was a way to give this song an 11, like in Spinal Tap, I would, because I think this song, we've already said it with Sandman, and even as somewhat with Sad But True, where it's like quintessential Metallica, and then I even said it way back on Justice when we talked about One. It's like that's a really good showcase song of everything they can do: melody, penmanship with lyrics, composition within the different build-ups. This song is melodic, heavy, thematic within lyrical content, heavy within the vocals, soft and tender within the vocals. It's a song that gives you everything on a silver platter. Dick, what do you got?
All of that. No, it's
Is that what you wrote? Whatever Brando said.
I don't. Okay,
Bro, everything you said.
Copy Brando's notes.
I actually didn't write any notes for the big songs of this album. I only wrote notes for the songs that are lesser known, I guess.
Unforgettable Waltz.
Yes. No, so Brandon said it. It's the fucking jam. I love the dynamics of the reverse dynamics of the song, if you will. How you got the heavy verses, and then it goes into that smooth, soft chorus, and it's and then the solo.
Yes.
Nick?
Agreed. So it's one of my favorite intros. The guitars at the beginning are just amazing. The way it comes in, the interlude to the solo, I fucking love it. And then the solo itself is amazing. I wrote that it's the standout solo of the album. It makes you feel the feels, and it's a solo that fits the song perfectly. It's kind of a somber song, and when he hits that solo, I feel like he puts you there perfectly. And my last note was just the lyrical content was just on point. I love the way he writes, and I feel like he did a lot of really good writing lyrically on this album.
This song is kind of about James growing up. in early on in his life about being kind of raised in a Christian Science home and having that doctrine kind of like face your way forward. And so like they're pretty much trying to guide him in a certain direction. And all the Unforgivens that he's written, very deeply personal to him. Something that he was going through. In this one he's writing about how he can never forgive his parents maybe for that because he was so blind. And then we'll talk about the other ones as we go along. But like, while he's a great lyric, a good lyricist, and he has so many great ones. And then of course, as time would go, he would also open up those walls even more, going into Load, which is why that album, the lyrics weren't really printed in the art book because he felt like they were a little too personal. And he wanted the art to speak for itself. He wanted you to listen to what he had to say instead of just read it. But Nate, what do you got?
Okay, so for the Unforgiven, you guys have touched on a lot of what my notes say, talking about the amazing acoustic intro that kills every time. Something that isn't said, the bass really fills the intro in nicely. If you're really, again, tuned in on the headphones and whatever listening device, whether it be a Zune or not, like that bass really fills it in and gets you. Nick nailed it with themes being ultra relatable, and like you can just feel the pain he's feeling as he's singing about it. That's one thing I really want to touch on is this is the first time in Metallica's entire history James has stripped the gruff from his voice in parts of this song, and you're hearing him beautifully sing melodically with intent, where he's following, a little bit of probably his vocal lessons and going, oh, I can do this to take it to the next level and not hurt my voice, all in the same swoop. And that it really, again, shines how amazing he is, musically speaking.
Bob Rock worked with him tirelessly on this song and a few others on this album, take by take. Try this, do this, go lower, not that, no, here, miss the key, there, try it again. You didn't quite get that God sound, that hip-filled God tone that you have. He kept guiding him through one after another. And while James is in there pacing back and forth, just doing vocals all day, trying to nail it, the hard work is in the pudding here. For sure.
Definitely. The acoustic interlude, like Nick said, is it's like, when you're on an amazing roller coaster and the first part of the roller coaster really sets you up for how much fun you're about to have. Mm-hmm. This interlude does that. It really puts you in the place to feel. And then when that non-acoustic, very abrasive, heavy sliding guitar intro hits you, if as a human person, and especially with how crazy people and everything that's been going on in the world right now has been, like, that main solo could just make you cry in an instant if you're just in the right headspace and take you fully into a different realm. That music, really, it's special when it does that, when it can move you to an actual emotion. It's so much bigger than just like, oh, I know the lyrics and I can sing along. It makes me feel nice. Like I'm feeling something more than just what the lyrics do for me or whatever. This song has harmonic perfection. And that is something that we don't touch a lot on their entire discography. But this is one of the shining moments where everything that is serving the song serves it flawlessly. And that's all my notes say.
Austin, you got anything to say on this one?
It's one of those songs that I remember being younger, looking past it. But as one of the things that brought me back to it made me realize, oh, shit, this is great. I remember the debut of the music video for it. And watching that and it just getting blown away and going, what? And then seeing, oh, it's a Black Album, going, wait, I have that. And putting it back in and just going, what was I sleeping on right here?
Mm-hmm. He was there in front of you the whole time. Yeah.
Yeah. Because my favorite song is actually later on in the album, initially from this album. But this actually turned into, is like this one and then this next one. Not the next one on the list, but later on in the album, it's like my two top tracks from this. Like, I'd go ahead and run into my rank. I'd rank this at a solid 10.
All right.
Solid perfection.
Solid. Boom.
So Nick, is that your rank too, or do you have a different one?
I gave it 8.25.
8.25. Dick, what do you got for me?
10.
10. Nate?
10.
10.
This album's got a lot of 10s from me.
I already said 11, but I can't. Not by our own rules. One out of like we're not giving zeros because zeros means a complete lack of effort. I mean, like a 0 would be like if you just like
this
if they
song
just
doesn't exist.
if they just left the track blank.
Lars farting on his snare drum.
Spoiler. There is a song on this album that I'm gonna somewhat shit on.
Okay.
I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? And I don't get anywhere near 0, but I've never given something such a low ranking. I'm like, guys, what the fuck is going on here? It'd be fun if you guys can guess what it is. I'm not gonna tell you now. We're gonna wait till we get there.
We can
Sure,
wait.
I have a guess. I think I know what it is, but I'll wait.
Yeah, we'll
right.
wait. Be a surprise. The next song was also a single. I believe this was the fourth single.
Fourth.
October 19th, 1992. Propelled them onto yet another tour, probably. When they literally had I believe one of the tours was Nowhere Else to Roam. Yep. We're coming back around again. And of course, it was during this cycle. I think the second album or the second tour was the co-headline with Guns N' Roses with the a stadium tour where James got messed up.
And the riot happened.
In the riot, yeah, that was in what
That was the same night. It was the same night when James got hurt and the riot happened.
Yep. I believe that was in Montreal. But Wherever I May Roam, with writing credits going to James and Lars. I was looking to see if this is the longest track on the record, and it's not. It only misses it by 5 seconds. But Wherever I May Roam, track 5, yet another monster song. Who to start with? We'll start with Austin this time.
That's less effort than Dick puts in.
No, I'm reading these lyrics and I'm like, it has been a minute since I've listened to this album, and I'm like trying to remember the way it goes, and I'm like, I can remember the lyric "Wherever I May Roam."
It's got that sitar opening with the how many string bass, Nate? It was
12.
a 12-string bass.
12-string bass, yes it was.
With that opening bong.
Like I'm drawing blanks on it. Like
That's what we should add to this, guys. We should do mouth versions of the song.
They can't get us a copyright for that. We'll just over here acapella and
Yeah, it ain't not good enough for them to know what we're doing.
Well, and that's funny
although
because
if somebody could just belt out a quick chorus of it, I could probably just from sound memory.
Will that get us copyrighted?
well, okay, so the original demo of this song was James. He had written the vocal melodies, but he didn't have words yet. So if you listen on the classic albums of the demo, it's him going wa na 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 yeah. Na 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 na, and then wa na 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 anywhere, wherever I may roam, where I lay my head is home. Yeah.
And then there's the whip.
All right, yeah, it's coming back to me. It's coming back to me now. All right, now this gave me a very. Now I'm thinking back to. I have more of a memory where it's kicking in my.
That is kind of sad. He asked for like something to remind him, and I'm like, Jesus
Yeah, it
Christ!
took all of you like a minute and a half to actually come up with something that actually got me to like, all right, what's this like iconic chorus from it that's gonna make me go, oh yeah. But yeah, I remember made me think of like fucking old Western cowboy in the middle of the night. You know, just
some gunslinger vibes.
some like old school, like old gunslinger vibes at the end of his fucking days, just like moving town to town, and it's definitely like down on his luck, can't sling anymore because he's gonna die the next time he does it, and it's kind of just his
It's always the last
his
time.
on his way out ballad.
Yeah, this song is definitely about like their endless tour cycles, and which is ironic because this album would propel them on an endless tour cycle for the next 3 years, and this would just encompass that entire period. You know, this was their turn the page as far as theme goes. It's hard when I listen back on this because this album it does mean so much to me. When you get to these big bangers, like, I'm definitely very generous with this album in my memory and also upon re-listen. But Dick, you're nodding in agreement. So what do you got for me?
I love the riff that everybody's been singing along to. It's such a cool riff. Like you just said, I feel like this is Metallica's song.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Because they wrote it.
But, no, yeah. But I feel like this is
that your
about
notes?
them. Like, because they've been constantly on this, constantly touring and all that. It's like they don't really have a home except for the road.
Mm-hmm.
That's the lyrics.
Yeah, I mean,
I would go as far as saying this is top 3 songs on this album.
what I really loved is that, you know, at the very last chorus, he changes the lyric instead of it being, you know, where I lay my head is home, and then he's like, basically what's going to be etched into my tombstone when I die is my body lies, but still I roam, because even death will not stop me from touring.
Awesome. The lyrics are so cool.
That is so good.
Yeah.
That double entendre is so good.
It is.
God damn it, James. You son of a bitch.
Nate, what do your notes got for us?
First line, ooh, sitar. Because that was where my brain was at. I was like, oh, yeah, that's awesome. I forgot that.
Okay, so was this after or during said experimental time?
No. Listen, you guys, this Rank 'em All took place like fucking 4 weeks ago, I think.
Okay.
Because I powered through. I was like after we did Justice, I was like, I'm going to finish them all so I don't have to do this anymore. And then I was like, I can only write so long before my hands started to fucking hurt. But anyways, so Wherever I Roam, sitar's awesome. Punchy intro. Honestly, totally underrated in this song. I really love Lars's drumming. It sets this song so well. It makes the song as powerful as it is and as impactful. You guys have nailed it with the duality of being homeless and or on the road and endlessly not at home. There's so much attack in the guitar tone for this song. Really, when you're listening in the headphones, it really hits you. There's some really sick lead work happening between like choruses and verses interspersed that are just little couple second lead. Totally serves the song, makes it feel huge. The solo is passionate and catchy is what I wrote, which, yeah, I can believe that. Wah wah, lots of wah wah, because that solo's got lots of wah wah. My body lies, but still I roam is literally the last line I wrote, and then the ounce solo is just a blazer. It just fucking shreds.
So I had something, damn it. I had something I was going to say. Mark my words. And it was going to be an additive. Darn it.
Can I just say I love James's voice in this song?
You can. You just did. Well,
all the little things they do, like going into the second verse, like, and the earth becomes my throne. And the earth becomes my throne.
Oh, dude,
yeah.
he belts it, and it does a lot of
all
cool
the
stuff.
harmonies in the chorus, like.
What I was going to say, where I completely just lost track. Nate, you mentioned Lars's drumming, and for this album, if you go back and watch the year and a half in life making of, Lars beats the crap out of his drum set when he plays. He everything is adequately mic'd, and he
broke
still
my fucking snare.
He still hits it like he's trying to break it, and it really rings true in songs like Sabbath True and Wherever I May Roam, where it's a little bit of a slower pace, and he's just like thumping that thing, you know. But Yeah, man, that's. I think we've pretty much kind of said it. Where do we leave off with the ranks? Dick. I believe Dick is next.
10.
10. Another 10. Nate.
8.75.
8.75. Nick.
6.75.
7.5.
Wow.
Yeah, he's being really he's really holding this album to the fire. I gave it a 9 because this song is a banger. I love it. I love playing this. It's got cool vibes all the way through. This song is one of those songs, like, not just literally because it's about traveling. This is a song that I crank in the car when it's on. I'm very much about songs that like really fit the mood. It's easy to just get pumped up every time I hear certain songs like "Cowboys from Hell." I'm like drumming on the steering wheel, and I'm ready to like go punch the next guy that I can see get out of the car. I'm just ready to kick somebody's ass. But this is a song. It's badass, but I can still lean back and be into it. But so the next song, guys. Next song, not a single. Not a single at all. Don't Tread on Me. This is partly where the album cover comes from because of the snake on the cover. This is something, I believe the writing credits, which is hilarious. Nope, never mind. I was looking at the next one. This is James and Lars. I thought it said Kirk because the intro lick was Kirk stealing that
West Side Story.
That's
thiefing
Coming to
motherfucker.
America, West Side Story. And he's like, no one will ever figure this out. And then that's where I believe the quote came from. Good musicians borrow, great musicians steal. But Don't Tread on Me. I'm going to start with Dick because I know he likes this song.
I remember, so a couple, like, however long ago, I told Nick, I was just over there hanging out, and I think it was for Brews with Dudes or something. I was like, I can't wait to do this album because Don't Tread on Me is my favorite Metallica song. And he's just like, what? Really?
To each their own.
Sure.
Really?
I think I know you said that to me before, and I believe my response is to stop talking to you for a couple of weeks.
I mean, in terms of just like this off the beaten path songs for Metallica, this is my favorite song of theirs. It's got so many cool elements in terms of like the guitar and the layering and all that. It's got some really cool ass leads, and it's just it's the simplicity of it really gets me going. Honestly, it's
the simplicity of it really bores the fuck out of me.
yeah.
The chorus is extremely memorable.
Yeah.
Even I don't really like the song, but I definitely know the chorus. It's kind of catchy. The solo to me was I wrote mediocre. And then it just doesn't. It's another forgettable one for me.
What gets me going is like all those cool like guitar layerings in the beginning of the song. I love all that. And
my favorite part of the song is after the solo, as they get ready to get back into the chorus, where the drums, the bass, that's my favorite part of the song. I really like
The
how
tribal drum beat there.
it like it all syncs up together. Nate, what do the sacred notes say?
Very limited, actually. Military drums, West Side Story ripoff. I mean, obviously. More heavy, less thrash. This is, again, them departing from fast and going more towards chunk. It's always been kind of a personal jam for me. Like, I really do enjoy it, even though it's really basic and not a lot of substance to it. That's all I wrote. And the drums that you said, the tribal drums, are badass as well. that's it. I've nothing else to say.
What's your rank, Nate?
A 7.
7. Nick.
6.
Dick.
We're gonna go with a 9.5. The song is America.
God damn it.
I was gonna guess 10 for him.
Maybe that's part of why I don't like it, because the entire like feel and imagery of it has been co-opted by a bunch of jackasses.
Yeah, well. I also gave this a 7. It's kind of middle of the road. It's got some cool riffs. I like the verses do nothing. The chorus is really catchy and powerful. Solo is pretty. It's forgettable, but it fits the song. So yeah. The next track is honestly, man, it's hard. Sometimes, if it wasn't for it wasn't for Don't Tread on Me being so iconic within the Snake and in America, whatever Dick said, I would have a hard time telling these like that song and this song apart, other than the fact that this next song is a little bit faster and beefier. Through the Never, it spawned a movie concert in name, but other than that, I have nothing else to add as far as notes to this one. This is kind of just a B-side. This is another one that I get Justice vibes from with the riffage. But again, it's condensed, super condensed. So we're like, in Justice, you would have gotten like 4 minutes of the one riff before you would go on to the next. That's not the case here. And this song, in my opinion, never really gets a chance to. It never gets past, like, maybe even phase 1, or maybe not even. Doesn't really even get to phase 2. It just kind of starts off and stays there.
Yeah.
Another one of those like somewhat forgettable ones. I wrote cool riffage. I like some of the riffs, and I like the solo. I thought the solo was pretty cool. But looking at my ranking, apparently the solo was not good enough to bring it up very far.
Again,
Did not save the song.
Yeah, couldn't save it.
Again, one of my favorite parts of the song is after the solo, when the song kind of slows down, and you get that kind of chant, on through the never. I like that part. Everything else is just kind of just there for me. Nate?
Notes say thrashy from the jump. It has a very thrashy riff. And actually, I think this is one of those songs where they kind of avoided playing it live for a while because of its difficulty in thrash. Like it was just kind of a fucky riff that they struggled with. The chorus is pretty catchy. Nick touched on it. The solo section is great. I wrote without being overly complex, meaning Kirk knew when to get in, do the damage, and get out without doing too much to the song. The thing Brando just brought up, the time change when it becomes the chanting and they bring in the like halftime feel with the tribal drums again, is pretty awesome into that final chorus. Yeah, that's all I have for notes there, guys. Dick, have you said anything about Through the Never yet?
So my notes say not as cool as I remember it. Catchy ass chorus. It's an okay song. I love that riff. I do love the riff. It's an okay song.
That seems to be kind of the consensus, just kind of across the board. Very forgettable.
Austin, does this song resonate with you at all?
No, I don't remember this song at all.
Good.
I have no memory of it. Even when you guys were kind of going over it, I'm like, yep, don't remember that thing.
I've been listening to it, and I couldn't I still forget it.
What's your rank, Nick?
6.25.
Dick?
7.
Are you sure you don't want to give it a 10?
I'm sure.
Maybe a 9.5.
7.
Nate?
7.5, my friend.
I gave it a 7. Yeah. I really don't have any strong feelings about it. I don't hate it. It's just kind of there. The next one, though, was a single. This was the third single released in April 20th. 420, baby.
Hey, it's a 420 release. I love it.
Yeah, 420 on 1992. This is the song where they brought in composer and orchestral arrangement from Michael Kamen, where he actually did some backing stuff. It's hard to hear in a final mix. They did turn it down. However, they did release what they called the elevator
mix
on one of the singles. It might have been the single for this one, where it's just the guitar, the orchestra, and James. It's kind of a more stripped down, and this is what got the ball rolling with them working with Michael, and then eventually would lead into S&M. So that's kind of neat. But Nothing Else Matters is what you would consider to be the first official. We've had the Metallica ballads, but this is a ballad.
Yeah.
Like, straight up Metallica ballad. Oh, I didn't mention the writing credits for Through the Never. That was James, Lars, and Kirk. This is just James and Lars. And but really, even though the reason why Lars has credits for pretty much every song is because he's really involved with the arrangement. He really does a lot of suggestion, and him and James work together to put the songs together. But this song is James' song, 100%. He wasn't sure whether or not it should even be on the album. It was more personal to him. And when they heard it, they're like, "Yeah, that needs to be on there." And he actually does the guitar solo for this song. This song is on the record. I don't even think Kirk plays on it at all. This was all vocally, musically, other than drums and the orchestra. It was all 100% James, which is funny because the video that Dick sent to the chat about Bob Rock getting Kirk so angry that he finally recorded the solo that was the best solo on the record in the Unforgiven, where they were arguing and they were talking about he's got to put work into this just like James put work into Nothing. If you just hear that as a blanket statement, it just sounds like James hasn't done any work on this record whatsoever. But in reality, he was talking about Nothing Else Matters because it was a song that was a risk for the band. They were already doing the risk of toning themselves down and possibly alienating part of their audience, which they've proven they don't give a fuck what people think about the shit that they do. And they're going to do what they want to do. If you're into it, awesome. If you're not, we'll see you down the road, man. But this was a risk, and I'm really interested to see what you guys have to say about it. Let's start with Nate this time.
Arguably, this is the greatest ballad of all time. Really? I mean, in my opinion, musically speaking,
beats
yes.
Kiss from a Rose.
Definitely.
Okay.
I would definitely jam Nothing Else Matters 100 times more than I would jam any Kiss from a Rose.
Damn.
But I digress.
Poor Seal. Seal's interrupted. Seal got really pissed off about that comment. He goes, "You're gonna no." I made this
everything in this song here.
I made the soundtrack for Batman Forever. Damn it! All right, Nate's back. Hi, Nate.
Sorry, guys. I don't know how much of me I was lost there.
It was literally after that you just completely froze. So we just joked that Seal has hijacked the show, and
it's because you said something ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well. So the vocal harmonies are incredible. With your headphones on and your Zune listening device, you can definitely get a little bit of that symphony in the mix. I'm gonna just keep dropping it.
You're a fucking shield for that Zune, man. It
died.
Let it die.
Are you getting paid for that?
There's
Is this
no-
a sponsorship here?
No,
There's no sponsorship, dog.
it's not coming, man. We're not getting a Zune deal for the network. Another acoustic solo on this album that builds also with that vocal tone. James starts very soft in his tone, and as he gets further in the song, he's getting louder and carrying phrases longer in how he's singing it. The bend-in solo is so fucking emotional when he comes in with the high-pitched right there when it really kicks up. It nails it. Perfect execution. Yeah. Love this song.
Nick.
So if you hadn't realized it before this song, I realized listening to this that if a Metallica song starts with an acoustic guitar, you know it's gonna rip. I love the intro. It's got a really fucking awesome solo. It's just it's classic Metallica. It's another one of those songs that I knew before I knew. You know what I mean? So not quite banger. Ballad banger? Can ballads be bangers?
You know what?
Yes.
If it's possible, this is riding that
This is
line.
the one.
Because I agree with what you guys said about the solo. It's pretty simplistic and design, but it does do exactly what Kirk was able to do when Kirk got pushed to be angry. And his original solo for Unforgiven wasn't very good. But then when they pushed him to the point where he just riffed it and came up with that thing that really made you feel. I really feel like that's what James did here. He captured the feeling in a solo. Austin, do you have anything to add for this one?
I love this song. It's my second favorite song on the whole album.
It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing.
Aside from the solo, it's the first song I learned how to play on guitar. So
Hell yeah. Dick, what do you guys say, man?
The song is so good. Just
I thought you were gonna say
I was waiting for him to go. It was all right.
it's okay. That's what I thought.
Brando said it best.
just
You guys already said everything I got to say.
Yeah.
You know,
the song is just so personable.
Mhm.
And just reading the lyrics here, it just seems like he's talking to his fans. He's talking to it's another one of those like where wherever I may roam is like that's about Metallica. That's about their home is the road. Their home. This is like James saying like Metallica is me. Metallica is my life. Metallica is everything.
Well, originally it was just about like a song like an ode to his wife or girlfriend at the time, and him being away, and then it's become one of those songs that's kind of morphed into a different meaning. Like,
And then the solo. This is my all-time favorite Metallica solo. It's just, and whereas Unforgiven is my second favorite, but no, I just love, my favorite solos are those like really long, drawn out, feely solos, like where you're just bearing your heart and soul on the guitar, bending those notes like crazy, just wailing. So
awesome.
Just wailing.
I think we kind of just said everything that can be said about this song, so we're gonna move into the ranks. Dick, what's your rank on this one?
It's a final 10.
Final 10.
My final 10.
If I could give this song an 11, it would be my first 11, but it is a 10.
10. Nick.
It's 7.75.
I also gave this song a 10. It is also my final 10. No, this song is tremendous. Absolutely tremendous. Like, there's not any more seasoning that we can put on this steak to, like, tell you all how good this song is. They really brought it. And they followed it up with another kind of chunky, they didn't bring it in with the, thematically, musically. They changed it up with the next song, track 9 of Wolf and Man.
I need to take a potty break, so I'll go first because I don't have much to say.
Okay.
Almost completely forgettable, and I couldn't care less about the lyrics. Couldn't possibly care less.
Is this the song?
That's not the one. That's not the one.
Wow. All right.
I look forward to what the one is.
Yeah, same. All right, then. Dick, we'll go with you.
A Wolf and Man, super cool intro. Of the lesser known tracks, this is probably the best.
That's what's awesome about this and having different people on because, and that's why I came up with the rank system that I came up with. We have our own personal lists and our own personal album rank, and then we average that out for the overall podcast rank because overall, you're being very favorable and Nick is being more critical. So that really does it helps lend more credence. It just like it's not just when like it's more variable. And no, I kind of agree with you. It's really good. I kind of label this in the holier than thou territory, but it's almost a step up. It's a little bit chunkier. I liked the call and answer thing that they do with the shape shift, nose to the wind.
It's a cool, like, he's just telling a story.
Yeah.
He's just telling a story here. It's
About
just songwriting.
Dun, 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 dun. I love the riff. The dun, 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 wah, nah, dun, 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 dun. It had that nice little tail on it.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very fun song to play. Of the few songs, you know, I learned Sandman, Sad But True, Unforgiven, Rome, and this one. This one was just, this is so, I love playing that riff. That riff was just always so much fun to play. Nate, what do you got for me on the legendary Sacred Texts?
Heavy and angular, lightning vibes, as in Ride the Lightning feels with how this song kind of hit me. I was like, oh, look at them touching back to who they were.
I can kind of hear that a little bit. Yeah.
I love that it's super jammy and headbanging. You can just get into it and lose yourself in the riffs. The breakdown into the solo is probably one of my favorite transitions on the album. It definitely hits for me, and like every time I'm like here for it. Yes. The guitar lead change with the minimal drums is pretty awesome, and the primal vibes are perfect for this song. That is my final statement.
I really liked coming out of the solo, and like a third song, I've said this, where it kind of like slows down a little bit and kind of has like the guitars doing like the wolf howls. And then, of course, maybe a little bit later on, we're going to talk about an album where Newstead actually howls to the crowd, kind of gets the crowd into a little bit. I like that. But Austin, do you remember this one?
Enough that I just repeated, but I agree. Like until like I was getting some more of the lyrical content and what's going on, I was completely lost in what this song was doing. But yeah, that. Like it was good, but I wasn't overly at all. I can't say I was overly at all impressed with the song. It felt very kind of repetitive with the way the riffs just kind of juggled around with each other.
Sure. Very interesting that this song wasn't heavy in the set list, I don't think, for that era. But
I wonder why.
Well, but it also made the list for the first S&M, so that's very interesting.
Wow.
But who is next? Give me. I believe it is Nate. Nate, what you got?
I gave A Wolf and Man an 8.5, 8.5.
Nick. And Nick's. I believe Nick's ranking is not going to be not going to be as kind. He's in disbelief.
I gave it a 5.5.
5.5.
So with, I guess I should say this, especially with this song. The thing about a bad Metallica song is that it's still an okay song.
Sure.
So
I will say that. I will say this, just based off of for right now, Nick, this is your lowest ranking Metallica song.
So we can go lower.
It's coming.
Okay. All right.
Something to point out. I try with every song to say something good.
Sure.
And I do not have anything good on these notes. So I gotta wonder, what the fuck happened? Did Kirk help write this?
A Wolf and Man? Did I? I didn't say, did I? A Wolf and Man. Yes, he did. Kirk, Lars, and James.
So I don't know if it's been said, but that to my memory, that is the second or third song that when Kirk has a credit, it's garb.
Well, and it's funny because then the first track of the record, he wrote the main lick of Enter Sandman, and is probably financially set for life because of it.
I mean that the Enter Sandman riff is one of the greatest riffs of all time.
Sure,
so.
absolutely. It's just kind of funny how it's got a kind of a like a whale of the scales, you know.
He fucking he writes awesome solos. He's an amazing guitarist, and it seems like a portion of the time I see him getting writing credits. I'm like, dog, are you the fucking problem here? All
right,
I don't know.
Dick, what's your rank, man?
I'm gonna go with 7.5.
7.5. I almost wrote down 70.
That'll skew some shit.
Yeah, it will. No, I gave
It
this.
wouldn't surprise me from Dick.
Highest rated song.
I was teetering on this one, but I do feel like, yeah, this is one that I came back to because I feel like of the songs that really don't resonate on the album, this one is just, it's got a little bit of a step up, but not much. It's on the holier than thou scale, so it's an 8 for me. The next song, "The God That Failed," a somewhat personal song for James. I do believe that this is about his mother's fight with cancer and how she kind of refused to get treatment because she, as I said earlier, they were Christian Scientists. They didn't really believe in going to the doctor, and they just believed that God would heal them, and he had to sit there and watch her waste away. And so then this is almost kind of like his little pounding his fist at God song. Like, if you're there and you're real and she was wanting your help, why didn't you do it? So thematically, thematically, the song is excellent. Musically, it's on another level for me. It doesn't quite get there. It falls into that prior category, but with "Don't Tread on Me" and "Through the Never." I don't really like the call and response for the lick. I kind of find that annoying. I like the chorus, especially the line, "The healing hand held back by the deepened nail." That's a great line, fantastic line. But overall, I feel like this is a song that could have been better. I'm not sure about you guys. How about you, Nate?
For the notes, I have very few things to say. Awesome bass groove.
Yeah, the
It
bass
definitely
is pretty
like, oh, hey, look, the bass. It's actually really shining on this song and doing something special. Overall, it's straightforward. Anti-religion. Chorus guitar is really fun and intricate, but simple. The song, that's all I have. Yeah, not much more to be said.
Dick.
Another heavy one. Simple groove, like "Sad But True." I like the chorus. I like just the singing on it. It's cool. I like it.
So here's a shocker. I love this song. It's one that I hadn't really listened to much, and preparing to do this podcast, going through and listening through multiple times. It was my favorite song that I now will put in rotation. I really liked the riff. I thought it had a really cool solo, and the outro. I really like the guitars in the outro.
I like the dual guitar thing that they. Wait, no, I'm thinking of a different song, aren't I? Yeah, I am. My bad. Kind of does that sometimes.
This might be a good time for me to point out too. This is the first album that we've done that I did listen throughs while reading the lyrics.
Oh, cool.
Ooh.
And that definitely added layers to my liking of in my head I already had the preconceived notion like that this is the turning point. This album is the turning point from the heavy thrash that I really like, the more almost like the worst production. I like the fact that like Kill 'Em All sounds like you recorded it in a garage.
More
shit
raw,
like that.
less overproduced.
Yeah. So yeah, that was the sleeper for me. That was the one that I was like, all right, here we go with another one that I haven't heard very much, and it was like, damn, cool.
So this was penned by James and Lars. They got writing credits. Austin, do you have anything to add on this one, or is this one kind of forgettable for you?
No, this one was a good one. I remember this one being a solid track. This was like definitely one of my top tracks of the album, just because it just felt so angry, and the lyrics were just so well written, where you could tell it was just yelling at, you know, a power you can't control, or like yelling at like something that you can't do anything about, and it's just so mad at that helplessness.
Right on, man. Right on. So, Nick, hit me with your rank, man.
I gave it an 8.
8. That is your second highest of the record. Dick?
It was 7.
7. And Nate?
7.75.
7.75. Using those points. I also gave it a 7. As I said, I love it thematically. I just don't think it really resonates with me personally, musically. But this next one was has writing credits from James, Lars, and Jason Newsted on his sole writing credit for the record. He wrote the bass lick that pretty much inspired the song. He was hoping this would be this album's instrumental, because they had been doing instrumentals for every album going forward, and they chose not to do that on this time around. They actually made a song. This is the longest song on the album. And this song is called My Friend in Misery. And if I can be frank here, I think this song is the most Justice sounding, even with all the thrashers. I feel like it's got this like dark vibe, almost like kind of like a heavier, cruncher one that you can feel like it almost fits thematically with the Justice, like how he sings, or like, you know, how he sings the verses, but it's got a nice little breakdown in the middle where they do like this kind of ambiance thing with the guitars, and they pull it back up into a solo. And this is what I was thinking of, with like the dual like harmony guitar solo stuff that they did in Justice. James and Lars going up there with the damn guitar. Here, Kirk, let me show you how this is done here. You've been phoning it in on the whole record now, and I'm gonna just.
Kirk was like, "Sounds stock."
It's so stock. Here, try this. No. Kirk and James are like dual guitar leading here, and it sounds amazing. This is, in my opinion, of the songs that are low key on the record that you don't know, that weren't hits, this is my favorite one. Nick, what do you got to say about this one?
This was, for the longest time, my favorite song on the album. I don't know why. Because it wasn't on the it wasn't on the radio.
Mm-hmm.
Or as much. Would it? I don't know.
I've never heard on the radio myself. Uh-oh.
Where'd it go?
Yeah, we lost video for Nick.
Hold on.
And he's back.
All right, cool. So the first thing I wrote is that it has a nostalgia factor.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know where that comes from. It might be when I'd heard all these songs on the radio for so long, and I finally decided to delve into it and like listen to the whole albums. And it must have just been the one that stuck out to me. I love the interlude, and I think it's the most unique guitar solo that he does on the album. The first half, and then it leads into classic Kirk.
Yeah, the like kind of jammy section.
Yeah, and then I love that for a good portion of the end of the song, Kirk's just wilding out. He's just he's just rocking it. So.
I love the chorus on this one.
Me too.
Very, very easy and simple, but man, what I will add to what I said earlier, because I kind of forgot about this, back during the early days of the pandemic that we have been in and just thrusted into, Metallica for like the entire summer, it was like 23 straight weeks almost. I don't know if that's the exact number. They aired a new concert that they hadn't made for free available on their YouTube channel, and they live streamed it every Monday. There was stuff all the way back from Kill 'Em All, the Black Album tour, Justice, late '90s, current, more current stuff. And one of the shows that they did was a show where they were celebrating the probably at that point the 20th anniversary of the Black Album, and they played the entire album in whole in reverse. So they started with like the last song and worked their way back. And I remember because my dad had just died. It was either like the week after that, and I was having a really hard time coping, I guess. And I remember I got really inebriated on maybe some questionably legal substances, and I'm just like sitting in my chair, just like floating, watching them play. I had nothing else to do with my life at this point in time. I'm just existing. And they were playing, and then they started like with the drums from the last track on the album. I'm like, what? They're playing this song? And then they went into My Friend of Misery, and it hit me on such a deeper level than I think it's ever hit me. Holy shit. I don't know if it's where I was emotionally, if it's my elevated state. It got me. It brought tears to my eyes. I got goosebumps, and I texted Nate. I said, "Hey, they're playing Black Album in reverse on Monday, Metallica," and I'm just like, I have to share this with somebody because I'm like, it's wow, like that was such a moment for me, to know that this is a band who I've been listening to for like over 20 years now, and a song that's almost 30 years old, and they played it at some point, and I'm just sitting there in the right mind space, the right moment can still hit you, and that's marks of good musicians, good art, good songs, and the fact that they don't ever really play this song live, and they killed it, and
absolutely.
So, Dick, I'll toss it over to you.
My Friend of Misery, slower intro, cool bass, the riff matches well, cool clean bridge into subdued phaser solo is what I wrote for my notes.
It is almost it does kind of have a phaser type effect.
It's totally different from every other solo he does on the album.
It is, and that makes it stand out.
Mm-hmm. And like, I can't remember who said it, but I like the chorus. I like all the harmonies James does. All the vocal doubling, and
you feel like the weight of the world is on your shoulders. There's much more to life than what you see. Man, I tell you, as I said, like the song freaking hit me at the right point in my life where I did feel like everything was on my shoulders, and I was in just plain, miserable existence. And it something so easy and something so easily written as far as like that, and it's just like, I remember this song. Oh, it grooves. Oh, yeah, wow.
It's not terribly technical at all.
No, not really, but it does its job, dude. As I said, you can almost paste this song and put it into Justice, and with a few changes, it would fit. To fit in like. This is it's more simple, and I'm pretty sure that, like, in fact, there's a guy that does stuff where he puts Metallica songs on different albums and messes with the tones and even the arrangement. And My Friend of Misery on Justice he did one, and he made it like 7-8 minutes, and he actually made it an instrumental, and it's really freaking neat. But Nate, what do you got for me, bud?
Haunting and beautiful bass intro that kicks in with a wall of guitars.
Mm-hmm.
This song is very atmospheric. This is where their groove, there are notes and things happening again where you're hearing what's about to happen in their career. A little taste of Load and Reload is in this song, and you can hear it starting to bubble at the surface where they pull things back, have more twangy guitar, bring out different styles of instrumentation to not be this super thrash lord band that they've been known for. One of my favorite lines in this song is "One man's fun is another's hell." I mean, she right in the fucking heart punch. The breakdown in the bass section where everything kind of fades away and the bass kicks back in and then the guitars build up into their solos is absolutely incredible. I listened to this song twice because of the question we're all having of what's up with that first part of that solo? Why is it different? Why does it sound weird? What's going on? Is it a phase or what is it? Listening in the headphones in the Zune as I have. Sorry. If people are having a drinking game during watching our rank 'em alls and Zune is a trigger word,
if they're doing
gonna
a
be
marathon,
wasted.
dude, they are done. Like they're tapping out right now.
Anyways.
I go Zune, 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 Zune.
Oh shit.
Ooh, there you go. Now people are just smoked.
Yeah,
You almost caught up to how many times he's brought it up.
I just need to Zune, 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 Zune a little more.
And now we're even. Okay, great. But I'm pretty like 98% sure that first solo is actually played with an octave pedal that is octaving 4 layers down and 4 layers up. So it is a wall of multiple versions of the same guitar making this
Which is why live they do the dual. Yep. That makes sense.
That's cool.
Second solo, Whales. Third solo is icing on the cake. I fucking love this song. And I also love how, although they didn't play this song a lot live in their careers, they would use parts of this song for Jason and Kirk to have a little solo thing when James and Lars needed a break in future albums.
Well, I mean, because some of the tours that they would go on, they would just be the only band. There wouldn't be an opener, so they would play like a 2.5 hour long set, and they would kind of have like a little interlude in the middle where they would have a jam section. So remember to get to the ranks here. I'm gonna go first this time. I gave the song a 9. I think, as I said, this is my favorite non-major song on the record, and it shows because I mean it's universally like we all loved it, and so now I'm gonna throw it over to Nate. What'd you give it, bud?
An 8.25.
8.5.
Dick?
8.5.
And Nick?
I gave it an 8.
8. That is probably the most universal song so far.
We were really close there, guys.
Other than like maybe Unforgiven, like we are pretty tight on that one. So I can only assume that the song that Nick is that was a question for Nick, and we lost his video once again.
Fuck this, we're out.
And he's back.
There we go. The Struggle Within, the album closer, starts with the snare drums. Nick, please lay it on me. What are your thoughts?
All right.
He's cracking his neck. He's getting ready.
So we'll start with what I like. The guitars at the very beginning made me feel like we were getting ready to jump into like an old school Metallica song.
Yep.
That happiness immediately fades. I don't like the way he does the vocals. I think it's weird the way he's doing it. I looked at the lyrics, and as far as I can tell, it's just a fucking mess. I like the solo. I thought the solo was pretty cool. And I wrote terrible ending for an album. It just kind of ends. It just does like a da, 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 and it's over. I'm like, that's it. This really good album, and that's how you're gonna fucking end it. Okay, so yeah, not much good to say. I guess I have more good to say about that than what was it?
Of Wolf and Man.
Of Wolf and Man.
You didn't really have much of all to say about that. So
no, I just wanted that one to be done. So yeah, that's my breakdown. My struggle was getting through the struggle within.
So
You struggled within.
yeah.
I actually just listened to that with him, and I was just all like, "Is this over yet?"
You mentioned how he sings the lyrics, and it just the one line just reaches out to me, reaching out, and it's almost like a parody in some ways of some of the great stuff that's on this album. I do feel like, and maybe I'm wrong, and maybe this isn't it, but I feel like this is the one they put the least time and effort into. They were like, yeah, well, we need to wrap this up, guys. We We are really behind. We need to get this album over to mixing now. James, are the lyrics done? No. Okay, I'll go sing it right now. And then he just went in and did it. This song for me is my least favorite song in the entire record. Same as Nick's. But in my ranking, I was a little bit more generous and rated it along with some of the other ones. So, yeah. Nate, what do you got?
Marching drums intro. Okay, cool. It definitely has a Justice tone, though. Like, you're hearing it and you're like, oh, this could be Justice.
See, that's kind of what I saw. Some of these, like, in-between songs, you can...
It's like a throwaway Justice tune.
Well, as I said, just in tone, you can lift them and put them over there and rework them, and they would be like, well, this works. But it doesn't, like, for the major bangers on here, that's not the case. But, like, for something like Through the Never or something like that, and this one, it feels like it could slide in.
I asked the question on my own notes just for your guys. Is this, like, supposed to be thematically a Dyer's Eve sequel? Like, is that what they were going for? Like, it ends the album kind of like Dyer's Eve ended the album. It starts with the same kind of punch. It's supposed to be fast and thrashy, but it really doesn't deliver. The solo section is a groovy, tasty little number, but it's not most unmemorable. Like, I don't think I know a lyric in the song except for "Struggle Within." Wow.
It's a mess.
Yeah.
Dick?
So my notes say "Struggle Within," weakest link. Fast punky song. I do like the riff melody leading into the chorus. That's pretty much it. That's all I have to say about this song.
Well, we want to just get this over with. Start with Nick. Nick, what'd you rank this one, bud?
God damn it.
He ranked it a 0.
Ranked it
4.
4. Dick?
We're gonna go with a 6.
Nate?
I have it at a 6.25.
I gave it a 7, as I said. I kind of made it a baseline. Some of the songs that really didn't really hit with me, they're still pretty damn good. But we have literally ranked every song on the most commercially successful Metallica album. It's a commercially successful album, one of them the highest ones of all time. Really big episode here, so we're going to run down the averages. Brando's album ranking is a 8.4. Nate got an 8.25. Dick, 8.5. And Nick, a 6.75. Which lands the master rank for Metallica's self-titled record, the Black Album, at a 7.9. Which is the second lowest rated so far.
Kill 'Em All right now is lowest rated.
Kill 'Em All,
right?
yeah, for us, Kill 'Em All got a 7.5. And then Ride the Lightning got an 8.4. Justice got an 8.3. Master got an 8.8. And slotting in right next in now second to last place. So third place. Wait.
Fourth place.
Fourth place. My bad, guys. I can math. 7.9 for Black Album. It's going to be interesting to see where things go from here as we as we slide into the 90s load era.
Friends don't let friends get friends' haircuts.
True that. Written on the base of Alice in Chains for their Unplugged. Well, Metallica was sitting front row to watch that. And, next episode we'll be talking about Load, guys. We really hope you enjoyed this episode of Rank 'Em All, where we talked about Metallica's Black Album. And I just want to take a second and thank Nick and Austin for joining us here today. This was honestly one of my most anticipated ones ones for a good reason. Maybe the other ones coming up, maybe it'll be more. I will be anticipating to hear what people have to say, because whereas, as Nick said before, it's kind of a teetering point where we go from here. But it's going to be interesting to see what individual songs, how they rank with us personally and how we think about them. because one would have thought maybe that us all being metalheads, we would have gave a little bit favorable rating to Kill 'Em All than what we did. So it's going to be interesting to see if Load comes in, and what if Load maybe Load won't be the lowest one.
It's better than Kill 'Em All. We're all like, what the fuck?
I have heard debates that a lot of people say Metallica was the last good album. Well, the Black Album was the last good album by Metallica, and other people go, no, Load is the last good album, and that was the fall off. And there's like,
that's a cool debate. That's a cool debate
to go back and forth.
But yeah, thank you two for joining us here today. Dick, thank you for being on here.
Thank you.
Yeah, to gush about the Black Album. And Nate, thank you.
My brother.
The Podfather, thank you for being here as well. And we encourage you to check out this podcast over there on the Podcaster feed. Search Podcaster. You'll find Rank 'Em All, as well as the YouTube feed for the video version. You can check that out as well. And of course, Rank 'Em All is a collaborative podcast. We are going to go forward and cover different artists and different bands, and we're going to have different panelists going along the way as well. It's not always just going to be us four. It could be a different mixture of us and some other people, and maybe we'll all come back. Maybe the four of us will come back and do another set. But that's what's cool about this, is because we're going to get different perspectives and different bands, because it's not necessarily fair if we're going to listen to a band that maybe someone's not that into, and their rankings may not be true, and it may not be their forte, but we look forward to doing more of these shows, progressing through the Metallica ranks as we've done. And for Nick and Austin, for Dick Tyner, for Nate Phillips, I've been Brando, and we have been dubbed Unforgiven right here as we ranked Metallica self-titled record, the Black Album, on Rank 'Em All. See you guys later.
See ya.